What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Titus here, and today I'm giving you guys a 1 week update on the Summoner's War account, and then I'm going to mention some of the things in my first week that I've noticed, some things I like and some things I dislike. So let's get right into it, shall we? So as we came in and got started, we basically, just like most of these other gacha games, we looked at the main tracker and we just kind of looked and saw, this was kind of our North Star to guide us through the content, right? So we got through the novice portion. Now we're working on the intermediate. We've done some of the challenges and stuff, and we've just been cracking right along. We completed the campaign, or I don't know if it's called campaign in Summoner's War, but we've completed the campaign, every single stage, every difficulty, normal, hard, and hell. We have also cracked into Trial of Ascension, where we got stuck on floor 50, but I think I have an idea of how I'm going to get past that, but we're not quite there yet. We also have gotten a couple of the dungeons completed. Giant's Keep we have on farm stage 10, and we've been doing that in the background actually. Dragon's Lair, we got stage 10 complete, but it's not 100% consistent. There is a bit of a fail chance, so we gotta tighten up the squad a little bit for that one, but I think we'll have that on farm in no time. Necropolis, Spiritual Realm, same thing. We have the tools to get these done. We just haven't quite put the team together yet, because I've kind of, like I said, just been focusing on getting Giant's Keep farmed up so I can just get a lot of good runes that I can then, build those teams out with. Steel Fortress, we tried out a few of the first stages. Punisher's Crypt, we haven't tried yet. Secret Dungeon, we've done a couple of these. This is actually how we got our Crow fully booked out and all that stuff. And then all of these halls, we finished Hall of Wind. Realistically, we can complete any of these halls whenever we want to. It's just in the early game, they've showered you in so much awakening material that I haven't really felt the need to go into these halls yet. Like Hall of Fire, I actually just haven't done. I haven't even done the first stage yet, but I promise you we can finish the first stage of Hall of Fire. From there, we then unlock the Rift of Worlds, but I actually haven't gotten into any of these just yet, mostly because these gems, as I understand them, they're supposed to be like reroll tokens or something, or like they're supposed to alter your gear in some way or something like that. And we don't even have really good gear right now at base, so I'm not really in a position where I care about super fine tuning pieces, like trying to craft the perfect piece. So we haven't really spent any time in Rift Dungeon at all. Sorry, I think I'm starting to get a little sick. That's why there's all these cuts. I don't know, just feeling a little under the weather, feeling a little phlegmy. In the arena, we actually haven't really done much in the arena. We haven't ranked up at all, and as you can see, we're kind of sitting on our tokens, wherever those might be. Bottom left. Sorry, I have my lighting over here next to the screen, so sometimes it can make it kind of hard to see the bottom left of my screen. And there's actually something I'll mention from there moving on as well when it comes to the things I dislike about the game. But that's not really their fault. They just happen to put that information there, although having it on the right hand side would be nice. Anyway, as you can see, having only kind of been doing arena, just kind of hitting rivals every day, when we get the chance to kind of go through and get these for free. Haven't really focused on any form of PvP at all. Like I said, just doing rivals, trying to get as much of this currency basically for free as possible, and that's about it. Same thing with Isle of Conquest. I haven't touched this stuff at all. I'm guessing Guild Rival Battle is kind of like, it looks kind of like Territory Wars. And then World Guild Battle, I don't know. This all kind of looks like Territory Wars, but I'll be honest, I haven't even punched into this stuff yet, mostly because my brain keeps telling me to just get my priorities straight, gear up a bunch of monsters, and then get the dungeons going, right? So a lot of this stuff, Siege Battle, we haven't even actually cracked into this. And I actually think moving forward, I'll probably make a video about my first impressions of the PvP. Tartarus Labyrinth, we actually have been working with our guilds, kind of doing what we can, which isn't much, but every day we hit every single one of these bosses on the easy difficulty just to get some little rewards and try to contribute how we can. Of course, finishing campaign, we got the dimensional hole, and we have actually farmed this quite a bit. We farmed this to get Crow fully awakened. I think we also got Ryuk or Rauk, whatever the fire version of the Inugami is. We got him second awakened. We also did, actually, no, it was the same one. It was this one. We did this as well for Bernard. We were able to clear stage 5, but it wasn't 100% consistent. So I mostly farmed stage 4 to get Bernard's second awakening, which we did finish. As well as, where are we here? Is it this one? It is the Grim Reaper. Now I know that the Fire Grim Reaper, I forget his actual awakened name. I know that he is used for kind of like Giant's Keep speed farms. So I was thinking about awakening him. I was kind of debating about whether or not to awaken him, or if I could maybe try to push into Abyss or the harder versions of Giant's Keep. Just, you know, kind of messing around with those two different ideas. Let's crack into some of the things I noticed, some things I don't like, and some things I do like. And let's start with the things that I don't like. All right, so cracking into the things that I don't like, let's get the Band-Aid ripped off right now. I don't really like the art style of Summoner's War. I know that this can be a very hit or miss thing for most people, right? Art is subjective. But for me, I'm not really crazy about the kind of anime cartoony style, which I know is very popular for a lot of these gacha games, mostly because a lot of these gacha games they're kind of developed by a lot of Eastern companies where that, I guess that aesthetic maybe is more popular. But me personally, it's a bit of a miss for me. You know what I mean? Again, if you like the art style, that's fine. And I don't judge one way or another. It's just not my cup of tea. Moving on from there, one thing I really dislike is kind of the UI, which feels very busy. And it feels like a lot of this stuff, I don't know, it feels like a lot of this stuff could kind of be put somewhere else. You know what I mean? I noticed, especially on the left-hand side, there's a lot of shop stuff. And don't get me wrong, I come from Raid, and Raid is no stranger in trying to get you into the shop. But usually the way Raid does it is they either do pop-ups or they do like constant marketplace. Like they just have one marketplace button that has all of the shops, you know, the shops where you spend money. And, you know, having like, to me, there's absolutely no need for this many buttons to try and get you to buy stuff. I'm sorry, there just isn't. You know what I mean? Also on top of that, like, you know, you have events here, but then she's also going to push you towards events in some of these with this notice board. This media button could be baked into something else. Like I feel like there could be a button where I press it and it gives me events, media, maybe gives you community, you know, all of this stuff that kind of feels like it's all in the same place, you know, one button for the shop. And the thing that I don't understand is they have so many buttons, but to me, one of the most important ones for any collector game is the collection itself, which you have to go into your monster tab, then hit the collection button. For the longest time, I didn't even realize that this collection button was there. I know Milo had mentioned it to me briefly, but that was, you know, the literal first 30 minutes I was playing the game, and everything kind of felt like a whirlwind hitting me at once, right? So then the next problem I have with the collection, and it's not so much the way the collection is handled, well, I guess it kind of is, but it's one of those things where okay, how do I explain this? The collection feels very obtuse and hard to work with, right? So for instance, when you collect a monster, they have a name. So this is Joker, right? And then you have Lucian. Okay. But it makes it very hard for me to, like, one thing I think they should have just done away with is I think they should have just given every single base form the evolved form's name or the awakened form's name, so that you kind of understand, you can kind of interact with it a little more seamlessly in my mind. Because, you know, for instance, I'll see a lot of people in the community mention certain, you know, monsters. Well, I have no idea who that is. And even if I do have that person, I might not even know I have that person because they're not awakened. So, you know, someone says, oh, Wind Phoenix is really, really good. Or, you know, they'll say, let me find them. So they'll say, oh, Tashar is really, really good. And I might have the Wind Phoenix, but not even know I have Tashar because he's just Wind Phoenix. And I understand that they tried to do that for, you know, because it is cool to the idea of I get a monster and then when I awaken him, they get a name and they become something different. But it also makes it, in my mind, very hard to kind of understand how many. And the thing is, you have so many units in the game, right? And you don't even know that you have half of them. Right. So I don't know. I don't know how they would go about it. One thing I would say is they could probably deal with a couple more buttons here, like maybe a collapse button where it gets rid of all of these, like it gets rid of all the 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, what it gets rid of all that stuff, whatever. And then just shows you the most awakened version of whatever you have, even if you haven't awakened it yet. That way you can kind of interact with it a lot easier, because it almost feels like with the monster collection, I don't know, it just feels super bloated and not in a way that couldn't be maybe, I don't know, is fixed in some way, especially for new players. I think a lot of players who have played Summoner's War and hear this complaint are going to think I'm stupid. I'm not the smartest guy alive, but man, this is just, I don't know. You open up this collection and there's just so much stuff. It just hits you all at once. And then for me personally, this collection button should be on the main screen, because collections and bestiary, what do you call it? Collection, bestiary, whatever. That's like the most important of a gacha game, right? It's the collection aspect. To me, that should be front and center over media. No offense, but I don't really care as much about, you know, the official cafe or any of these, the developer notes or anything like that, as much as I do like the actual creatures, especially when you first start off, right? As you play longer, you get more entrenched into the community and the game itself. Of course, you know, keeping up with who's winning the PvP tournaments, all that stuff. Sure, of course, but I don't know. This collection right here feels like it could be handled a lot better. And some of this UI stuff feels like it could be handled a lot better too. That's just my personal opinion. Next up, and this is honestly a very egregious one to me, is when I opened up this summoning portal. Now, I did mention I have the light in the bottom left-hand corner, and I am playing this on PC instead of my phone. But for the longest time, I didn't even know that they showed you the rates of summons, because of the way that they've kind of like, you know, you open up the summon menu and then right here in the left-hand corner, this tiny little spot, they show you the rates, right? Whereas to me, I mean, sorry, so flustered. If I summon, why this button should be like right here. It's kind of critical information, and it's always very telling when people try to hide stuff. And that's kind of what it feels like, is it feels like they're trying to hide it. On top of that, the fact that this game has no pity system in 2025, I don't even know how you get away with it. Now, I understand some people will be watching this video and they'll be like, hey, what are you complaining about? You know, you've got a ton of nat 5s and a couple of LDs. And this is true, or I got one LD, but either or, right? And it's true. But the thing is that I also get a lot of comments seeing people like, oh man, it took me 6 years to get, or 5 years to get my first nat 5. And that's kind of messed up. Honestly, like I read that and in a way, it kind of breaks my heart, because you think about someone spending years to try to get a digital character. I mean, one nat 5, that's absolutely insane to me. And I don't know that Summoner's War can keep getting away with that. I mean, you really have to think about it like this. There are some people who will never leave Summoner's War because of a sunk cost fallacy. Doesn't even matter if they're still having fun or if they still actually think the game is the best on the market. The amount of time and money that they've spent on the game is going to trick their brain into feeling like they need to keep playing because, again, all the time and money that's been sunk in. I get that feeling because I have that feeling with Raid, even though I haven't had fun playing Raid in, oh man, who knows how long, really. I still come back to it every once in a while and I still keep playing it because of all the time and money I've invested into it. Now, the problem comes when another game comes out and is just better and does a lot of what I think, user-friendly, consumer-friendly things, and you eventually lose that population of gamers. I mean, at that point, it is what it is, right? Most game companies, they just cut their losses. They're like, hey, we made profits for 11 years. So whatever, the game's dead now, we'll go work on the next thing, right? But it is kind of tragic that it needs to be that way. And that's usually the mindset people have, because not having a pity system for your players, I don't know if it's because, one thing I will say is that they're much more gracious about summons than a game like Raid. And so I wonder if maybe that's why they don't do a pity system, is because they're afraid that people would get too many summons too fast and then be able to pity out all of, their nat 5s and stuff. But at the same time, I mean, you're constantly adding new characters to the game. You're constantly giving reasons for players to keep paying money. I don't know. It's just, I don't like it. The lack of pity system, more than anything else, kind of puts a really sour taste in my mouth, because it's not just about me. That system like that makes me think of all the people who have had to spend so much time and money to get a nat 5, when it's like, it doesn't necessarily need to be that way. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. All right, well, enough scathing critiques. Let's get on to the things I do like. Number 1, Arena. The fact that I can just beat up AI and not have to worry about playing against players. I don't really have to focus on PvP. Of course, most of these games will always push you towards PvP as like the actual end game, right? Any game that has PvP, the PvP is always the end game, because that's the only thing that constantly evolves, right? Giant's Keep is the same Giant's Keep it's been forever. However, for someone like me, especially a new player who just kind of wants to jump in, get into the PvE content, and really doesn't feel like they want to put a lot of time into the PvP, it is nice that I can at least just go beat up bots. I might not get as much of this currency as I could if I was like, say, gold or whatever the highest tier for this game is, but at least you're getting something. Your progress will be slower, but unlike it is in Raid, where you have to PvP for like account-wide progress, right? We have this thing called the Guild Hall, and the Guild Hall, kind of like an element fission with the Guild Store or whatever. You have these things that give you permanent upgrades to your account, right? Everybody, all of your red affinity people get plus 5% accuracy, right? Across the board. Well, in Raid, in order to max that out, eventually you need to get into gold, because you need the gold medals that you get to buy those things. There is no other way to get it. And there definitely is no free AI to beat up on to at least get some progress done slowly. So I definitely appreciate that part about Summoner's War. Next thing I really enjoy is this game has been around for a while, and Raid has been around for a while too, but not obviously to the same extent. The amount of free stuff they give you to try and onboard you into, say, when you go to the Summoner's Way, you have the challenges and the different dungeons. The first one is always usually a champion. Now, the champion might not be very good, but I imagine that they're probably decent for the dungeon they're giving you to. And the amount of, free stuff that they give you, like I said, to try and onboard new players to get them through some of the older content so that they can catch up a little bit to some of the newer stuff coming out, I really appreciate. I think the problem with Raid is it doesn't have a huge... I don't know. It feels like the old content is still the main content, right? Finishing dungeons, is still kind of the most time you're going to spend in the game. Well, I guess that was true, but that's a whole rant I could go on with Raid for a while. But basically, I really do think that the new player experience, aside from just the clutter on screen, I mean, you know, the amount of free energy that they've given you, the amount of free energy keeps going up, right? I'm almost at 5,000. I literally can't spend this stuff fast enough yet. The amount of free gold, mana gems, gold, whatever. I mean, obviously this right here, I can math out. This is basically what, 140 fully maxed out runes, but it's still a lot to work with in the beginning. And the same thing with the gems, right? Which I have found myself spending gems on a couple scroll packs and stuff like that to try and round out, especially right before some of the pull videos. Probably not the most efficient way to do it, but hey, you know what? So other than that, the actual new player experience in terms of actually playing the game and not like some of the buttons or the collection, I think is definitely a thumbs up for me for most games that I've played. Finally, the last thing I really want to touch on, I could try to touch on every single system. We could be here for an hour, right? And nobody wants an hour-long video. The events. It was so crazy to me because I had heard, for instance, I got into Element Fishing because of a creator called JGigs, right? Who I had a lot of respect for, and you know, stuff like that. And it was one of those things where me and him both came from Raid at that time, a couple months back. And I remember the 6th anniversary for Raid happening. The 6th anniversary for Raid just ended like a month and a half ago. And I remember him saying, you know, he had a lot of critiques about it. And it was weird to me because in the Raid, you know, community or whatever, I'm looking at other creators, kind of getting their vibes, like a vibe check from them, and then a vibe check from him. And I thought that he was just being unreasonable. You know, he was talking about for our anniversary, we got, you know, some ancient shards, 1 sacred shard, 1 primal, all that stuff. And I was like, you know, Raid gave us some free stuff. That's nice. However, now that I've been here and seen exactly how much stuff people will give away on an anniversary, yeah, I realized where the anger towards Raid came from. Absolutely. Because I've been given so many. I mean, you guys saw I opened 150 of those anniversary scrolls, which also gave chances for LDs. There's nothing like that in Raid, where we do have a 4th affinity outside of the trifecta, sort of. And yeah, those only come out of 1 specific scroll, basically. And I've never seen them add, you know, kind of like a fun anniversary or promotional thing where you can get these these scrolls that can give you a chance at everything. I've never seen that. And, you know, speaking of this 6th anniversary for Raid, essentially what they gave us was 1 legendary scroll, like 4 mystical scrolls, 5 mystical scrolls, I don't remember the exact amount, and then 2 light dark scrolls. That's it. Whereas in this game with the anniversary, I mean, the anniversary already has showered me in like a couple hundred scrolls. It's crazy how many summons they were giving. Not only that, but we have events in Raid like every gacha game does, and our events are built very differently. So when I would see, you know, someone like JGigs be like, hey, why don't the events and tournaments, why don't they work just off of the energy people spend? I was like, man, that would never happen, because that would make the game, that'd be too easy, right? Then I realized why he brought it up is because literally every single event in this game so far that I've interacted with has just been spend energy, play the game. It's very weird. It's kind of, it reminds me of that old Greek story of the man in the cave, where you don't understand anything outside of the cave because that's all you know. But once you see that there's a whole world outside of there, I mean, some people get scared, right? Some people get overwhelmed. But for me, it was just shocking to see exactly how much, like, no, it is okay to just give away tons of this free digital stuff that's, let's be real, not worth anything, unless I guess you're going to sell your account or something. But outside of that, I mean, right, I can't go to the bank and cash in my Summoner's War account. So, yeah, you can just give people tons of free stuff. And that was very eye-opening for me. In conclusion, I've actually had a lot of fun with my first week of Summoner's War, and I do plan on actually still playing it in the background and maybe still doing some content here and there, some scroll pulls, maybe showing off my first, foray into actually trying to get into PvP. Maybe I can even have someone like Nepo back on to help me with some teams in the future, get through, say, hard, whatever. What would this be called? Because they're always different, like Abyss normal and Abyss hard. Maybe he can come in and help me with some teams for some of the dungeons. Who knows? But anyway, guys, that's been all for me today. If you liked the video, let me know. Like and subscribe. Comment down below what you think. All that fancy YouTube stuff. It really means a lot to me. And I love just watching the channel steadily grow with all the support that you guys have been showing. So keep it up. It means a lot to me. It really does. But again, that's been it from me, guys. And until next time, I'll see you.